The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey is a self-improvement book. The book contains the 7 habits that successful people have cultivated. Stephen Covey believes that the way we see the world is entirely based on our perceptions. Unless we change our perceptions, we can't change the way we see the world. Covey studied over 200 years of literature on the concept of success. In earlier times, success was based on what he calls character ethic. Character ethic comprised things like integrity, humility, fidelity, temperament, courage, justice, patience, hard work, simplicity, and modesty. Beginning the 1920s, the way people see success shifted to what he calls the personality ethic. Due to this shift, success is viewed as a function of personality, public image, attitudes, and behaviors. In short, the foundations of success shifted from what is within to outside. As a result of this shift, people are looking for quick fixes, but shortcuts will yield only short-term success. To achieve real and sustainable success, we must change fundamentally from within and not just at the surface level. This will require a paradigm shift in the way we think and act. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People help us in achieving this paradigm shift. While this masterpiece from Stephen Covey is best read page by page, this episode presents a quick summary. The 7 habits that Covey writes about are: be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood, synergize, and sharpen the saw. Habits 1, 2, and 3 are focused on self-mastery and moving from dependence to independence. Habits 4, 5, and 6 are focused on developing teamwork, collaboration, and communication skills, and moving from independence to interdependence. Habit 7 is focused on continuous growth and improvement and embodies all the other habits. Let me briefly present each habit in this short episode. Habit 1. Be proactive. We are in charge of our lives. What distinguishes us as humans is our inherent ability to examine our own character, to decide how to view ourselves and our situations, and to control our successes and failures. Simply put, to be effective, we have to be proactive. The opposite of proactive is reactive. Reactive people believe the world is just happening to them on which they have no control. Reactive people feel increasingly victimized. Covey says, reactive people think the problem is out there, but that thought is the actual problem. Proactive people, however, recognize they have response ability, which Covey defines as the ability to choose how you will respond to a given stimulus or situation. To be proactive, we must focus on the circle of influence rather than on the circle of concern. The positive energy we exert will cause our circle of influence to expand. Reactive people, on the other hand, focus on things that are in their circle of concern, which leads to blaming external factors, creating negative energy and causing their circle of influence to shrink. For more on circle of influence and circle of concern, please do listen to episode 2 of this podcast, in which I speak about locus of control, and episode 5 on improving your personal productivity. Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Start with a clear destination in mind. Covey says we can use our imagination to develop a vision of what we want to become and use our conscience to decide what values will guide us. Most of us work very hard to achieve victories, promotions, higher income, recognition, and the like. While working hard is good, we should also ask ourselves the purpose behind our hard work. Habit 2 suggests that in everything we do, we should begin with the end result or the outcome in mind. With that, we can make sure the steps we are taking are in the right direction. Covey says it is incredibly easy to get caught up in an activity trap in the busyness of life, to work harder and harder at climbing the ladder of success, only to discover that it is leaning against the wrong wall. Covey emphasizes that our self-awareness empowers us to shape our own lives instead of living our lives by default or based on the standards or preferences of others. Habit 3. Put first things first. We must have the discipline to prioritize our day-to-day actions based on what is most important, not just what is urgent. Habit 3 is about executing our priorities on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. In episode 5, I spoke about Covey's urgent versus important matrix. Quadrant 2 in the matrix deals with important but not urgent activities. It is at the heart of effective personal management. It deals with important things like building relationships, long-term planning, exercising, all those things we know we need to do but seldom get to actually doing because they are not urgent. Covey says the challenge is not to manage time but to manage ourselves. Habit 4. Think win-win. In order to establish effective interdependent relationships, we must commit to creating win-win situations that are mutually beneficial and satisfying to each party. Covey explains that there are 6 paradigms of human interactions. 1. Win-win. Both should win. Win-lose. If I win, you lose. Lose-win. I lose, you win. Lose-lose. Both people lose. Win. People with the win mentality don't necessarily want someone else to lose. That's irrelevant. What matters to them is that they get what they want. Win, win, or no deal. If you can't reach an agreement that is mutually beneficial, there is no deal. The best option of the 6 approaches is to create win-win situations. Covey says to go for win-win, you not only have to be nice, you have to be courageous. This also requires maintaining an abundance mentality, or the belief that there is plenty out there for everyone. The opposite is scarcity mentality, meaning there is not enough for all, so I will snatch it all. The win-win or no deal option is also important as a backup. The rest of the options are negative and unhealthy. Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Before we can offer advice, suggest solutions, or effectively interact with another person in any way, we must seek to deeply understand them and their perspective through empathic listening. Unfortunately, most of the time, we do not do this in our everyday interactions with others. We prescribe a solution before we diagnose the problem. We don't seek to deeply understand the problem first. Covey says, we have spent years of our lives learning how to read and write, years of learning how to speak. But what about listening? He also says that we have to build the skills of empathetic listening on a base of character that inspires openness and trust. Seeking to understand requires consideration. Habit 6. Synergize. The combination of all the other habits prepares us for habit 6, which is the habit of synergy. Synergy is when 1 plus 1 equals 3 or more, and the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Synergy allows us to create new alternatives and opens up new possibilities. We can introduce synergy to a given situation or the environment by practicing habits 4 and 5. Thinking win-win and seeking to first understand. What we end up with is not a transaction in our interactions with fellow humans, but a transformation. Both sides get what they want and they build their relationship in the process. Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. Habit 7 is focused around renewal or taking the time to sharpen the saw. To be effective, we must devote the time to renewing ourselves physically, spiritually, mentally, and socially. These are the 4 dimensions of our life. Neglect of any will be disastrous for a balanced life. Habit 7 preserves and enhances our greatest asset, ourselves. Let us understand the 4 dimensions a little in detail. Physical dimension. To renew ourselves physically, we must eat well, get sufficient rest and relaxation, exercise on a regular basis to build endurance, flexibility, and strength. Spiritual dimension. The goal of renewing our spiritual self is to provide leadership to our life and reinforce our commitment to our value system. To renew ourselves spiritually, we must practice daily meditation, communicate with nature, immerse ourselves in great literature or music. Mental or intellectual dimension. Renewing our mental health is to continue to expand our mind. We can read good literature, keep a journal of our thoughts, experiences, and insights. Social, emotional dimension. The goal of renewing ourselves socially is to develop meaningful relationships by seeking to understand other people, make contributions to meaningful projects that improve the lives of others, maintain an abundance mentality, and seek to help others to find success. Covey says, not a day goes by that we can't at least serve one other human being by making deposits of unconditional love. The real beauty of the 7 habits is that improvement in one habit synergistically increases our ability to improve the rest. Understanding and practicing these 7 habits will sow the seeds of success. Thank you for listening to this episode. Hope you found it useful. I will keep coming back with more nuggets of wisdom regularly. Please subscribe to my podcast. Should you like to have a one-to-one chat with me on any goal you want to work on, dilemma, or challenge you want to resolve, you can reach out to me for a coaching mentoring session on rsrmurthy4@gmail.com. I'll say it again, rsrmurthy numeric 4@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.